Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into one of life's really big paradoxes, love. We all actively seek it, right? We dream about it, build lives around it. But what if, deep down, part of us is actually pushing it away, denying its power, or maybe even kind of subtly fighting against it? It's the thought that really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? So our deep dive today is all about exploring why love can sometimes feel, well, like a threat, and how our ego often gets into the sort of silent battle with genuine connection. Our source material for this journey comes from some really powerful excerpts from Confronting Love, Healing the Ego's Battle with Connection. And our mission, it's to unpack some surprising insights into, where this resistance comes from, and importantly, discover how we can maybe start to shift these patterns. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, it's an incredibly potent topic, really is, because it takes us right to the heart of some of our deepest seated patterns, our behaviors around attachment, relationships. It gives us a pretty unique lens to understand the why behind some really perplexing emotional responses we have to intimacy.
Absolutely. And the central idea from the source material is quite striking, isn't it? Despite this, universal longing for love, we often treat it like something to be pushed away. And it's not just about external conflict like arguments with a partner. It's an internal thing, a struggle happening inside us, like unconscious sabotage.
Exactly. And this paradox exists because of what the source calls an unhealed wound from childhood. It points to something really painful, actually, but often overlooked. It's the idea that as kids, we often didn't truly see the love between our parents. Now, not because that love wasn't there, but because we weren't the absolute center of it.
Ah, right. That makes sense.
Think about it from a child's perspective. You instinctively crave being the absolute center of attention, the sun your world revolves around. So when your parents' love is directed towards each other, your developing ego can feel a bit sidelined. And subconsciously, it can develop this deep resistance, maybe even an aversion to love itself, perceiving it almost like a rival.
A rival for attention.
Precisely. And when the source talks about the ego here, it's important to clarify, it's not talking about arrogance or being full of yourself. It means that part of our psyche focused on, self-preservation and defining who we are as an individual. For a little kid, being the main focus feels crucial for survival almost. So anything diverting that attention.
Even parental love for each other.
Right. That can be subconsciously flagged as a threat by that developing ego.
So it's a dynamic that's not really malicious, but it's deeply wired in. And this unhealed wound, it doesn't just vanish as we grow up, does it? It kind of shadows us into adulthood. We unconsciously project these old childhood dynamics onto our current relationships. So like maybe we see a partner's focus on their job or even their affection for a friend as a direct threat, echoing that old feeling.
Exactly right. We inherit this deep internal conflict, this rivalry with love. It's almost like we treat love as a competitor vying for attention rather than the very thing that could heal and nourish us. It's a fundamental misunderstanding, really.
Yeah.
And it profoundly shapes how we relate, both to others and, to ourselves.
Yeah.
And you can even see this play out subtly with children sometimes. They might challenge their parents' relationship, not out of actual malice, but because of this sort of hidden jealousy, this ego-driven need to be the primary focus again. In a way, they're unconsciously testing the power of love, trying to pull all its attention back towards themselves.
This analysis is so insightful, but immediately brings up the big question, right? If this resistance is so deep, so ingrained from childhood, what do we do? What's the path forward? How do we actually start to untangle ourselves from this internal fight with love?
Well, the transformative idea presented in the source is actually quite hopeful. It suggests that if we can truly stop, pause, and see the love that was present back then, the care that shaped us, even if we weren't its only focus, and if we can respectfully acknowledge the relationships that existed before us, the ones that made our existence possible, then we can start to transform this deep-seated pattern.
So it's not just about thinking about it, it's about feeling it, a sense of respect.
Exactly. It's cultivating a really profound sense of gratitude and respect for the origins of our own life, recognizing that we are here because of love, even if we aren't always its central point. It means actively shifting perspective, moving away from seeing love as scarce, something to compete for, towards seeing it as abundant, interconnected.
How does one even begin to do that? It sounds big.
It can be. The source implies it often involves deep introspection, maybe looking at old family photos, really listening to family stories, or perhaps even guided reflection to reconnect with those earlier, maybe overlooked forms of care and connection that were there.
Okay, so acknowledging the past love.
Yes. That respect for love, particularly the love between parents, is presented as the beginning of healing. Healing from the ego's fight with attachment, which often shows up as denial or pushback. And this naturally leads to an important question for each of us, How do we actually integrate this? How do we make this understanding part of our daily lives?
Right, and that seems to be where the insights from Open Your Heart GmbH and their method puzzle, relationships and love, come into play. Our source mentions that this method offers practical steps, tools to help people move through these powerful realizations and actually integrate them. So it bridges that gap between understanding and actual lived change.
That's exactly right. The process they describe is designed to help people free themselves from the burden of this subconscious egoism. It's framed as not just emotional work, although it certainly is that, but also a deep engagement with those ingrained beliefs, the ones that have held us back, challenging them right at their root.
Tackling the core beliefs.
Yes. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture for you, the listener, understanding this and then applying it, that becomes the very foundation for building genuine, healthy relationships, not just within your immediate family, say with a partner or kids, but also with your parents' family, your wider circle, and really across your whole life. It's fundamentally about transforming your relationship with love itself.
Okay, so if we were to summarize the core insight from this deep dive, it seems to be that our internal friction, our fight against love, often stems from these really deep-seated, often unconscious childhood experiences, where our young ego saw love, especially parental love for each other, as a kind of rival for attention, not as the nurturing force it is.
Exactly. And what's truly profound here, I think, is how simple, yet utterly transformative that recognition can be. Just recognizing and then respecting the love that shaped us, even if we weren't parked right in the middle of it. That's a powerful first step. It starts healing the ego's subtle, or maybe not so subtle, pushback against real intimacy.
So the invitation then is, maybe let's stop fighting love. Let's start understanding where it truly begins for us. We really encourage you, the listener, to reflect on that. Where did love begin for you? And how might seeing that differently shift your relationships, maybe starting today?